What if the secret to building stronger communities was hidden in the wisdom of an ancient Greek goddess you've probably never heard of? In a world where division seems to dominate headlines, the story of Homonoia offers timeless lessons that could transform how we connect with one another. In ancient Greece, around the 5th century before the Common Era, city-states constantly struggled with internal conflicts and external threats. Athens faced political upheaval, Sparta dealt with social tensions, and smaller communities throughout the Mediterranean grappled with maintaining unity among diverse populations. It was during this turbulent period that the Greeks developed a profound understanding of what held societies together. Enter Homonoia, whose name literally means oneness of mind, or like-mindedness. Unlike the dramatic, temperamental gods of Mount Olympus, Homonoia represented something more subtle yet equally powerful. She was the divine embodiment of harmony, concord, and the mysterious force that transforms a collection of individuals into a unified community. Homonoia wasn't born from Zeus's head like Athena, or emerged from sea foam like Aphrodite. Instead, she arose from humanity's deepest need for connection and cooperation. Ancient texts describe her as a goddess who walked among mortals, teaching them the sacred arts of community building through her presence and wisdom. The goddess understood that true unity couldn't be forced or mandated from above. It had to grow organically from shared experiences, mutual understanding, and collective purpose. Her first teaching centered on what she called the practice of shared stories. Homonoia would gather people in circles, encouraging them to share their personal narratives, fears, and dreams. In the Agora of Athens, she taught citizens that before they could make decisions together, they needed to understand each other's perspectives. She showed them how listening deeply to someone's story created invisible threads of connection. When a wealthy merchant heard about a farmer's struggles with drought, empathy replaced judgment. When a young soldier shared his fears about battle, veterans offered guidance instead of mockery. Homonoia's second principle involved the ritual of common labor. She believed that working together toward shared goals created bonds stronger than blood. In Corinth, she inspired the construction of a community garden where citizens from different social classes worked side by side. Aristocrats and laborers found themselves laughing together as they planted seeds and shared meals. The goddess demonstrated that physical cooperation awakened something primal in human nature. When people sweat together, struggle together, and celebrate small victories together, artificial barriers begin to dissolve. She taught that communities needed regular opportunities for collective effort, whether building temples, maintaining roads, or preparing for festivals. Her third teaching focused on the art of productive conflict. Homonoia didn't believe in avoiding disagreement. Instead, she taught people how to argue constructively. In her sacred groves outside Thebes, she established councils where citizens could voice grievances according to specific protocols. Participants had to state their opponent's position before presenting their own. They were required to identify at least one point of agreement before highlighting differences. Most importantly, they had to propose solutions rather than simply criticizing problems. These practices transformed heated arguments into collaborative problem-solving sessions. The goddess also emphasized the power of celebration. She understood that communities bond through joy as much as through hardship. Homonoia inspired festivals that honored not just gods, but also community achievements. She taught people to create traditions that reinforced their shared identity and values. In Delphi, her influence led to annual celebrations where different neighborhoods competed in friendly contests of poetry, athletics, and craftsmanship. These events created positive rivalries that strengthened rather than divided the community. Winners were celebrated, but more importantly, everyone participated in something larger than themselves. Homonoia's fifth principle involved the practice of inclusive decision-making. She recognized that people support what they help create. Rather than having leaders make unilateral decisions, she encouraged processes that involved broad participation. In her temples, she established councils that included representatives from every segment of society. These councils didn't just vote on proposals. They engaged in careful deliberation, seeking solutions that addressed everyone's core needs. The goddess taught that sustainable decisions required not just majority support, but genuine consensus whenever possible. Her sixth teaching centered on the cultivation of shared symbols. Homonoia understood that communities needed visible reminders of their unity. She inspired the creation of public art, monuments, and rituals that reinforced collective identity. These weren't propaganda tools, but authentic expressions of shared values and aspirations. In Rhodes, her influence led to the construction of community spaces designed to encourage interaction. Markets were arranged to promote conversation between vendors and customers. Public buildings included gathering areas where citizens naturally encountered each other. Even the layout of neighborhoods reflected principles that brought people together rather than isolating them. The goddess also taught the discipline of mutual aid. She showed communities how to create systems of support that strengthened social bonds. In her temples, she established practices where community members contributed resources and skills to help those facing difficulties. These weren't charity programs that created dependency, but mutual support networks that recognized everyone's potential to both give and receive help. A craftsman might repair a widow's roof while she taught his children to read. A farmer might share surplus grain while receiving help with harvest labor from urban neighbors. Homonoia's eighth principle involved the wisdom of diverse perspectives. She taught that homogeneity weakened communities, while diversity strengthened them. However, she emphasized that diversity only created strength when combined with unity of purpose and mutual respect. The goddess encouraged communities to actively seek out different viewpoints when facing challenges. She established practices where councils deliberately included people with varying backgrounds, ages, and experiences. She taught that the tension between different perspectives, when handled skillfully, generated creative solutions that no single viewpoint could produce. Her final teaching focused on the legacy of continuous renewal. Homonoia understood that communities weren't static entities, but living organisms that needed constant care and attention. She established traditions where communities regularly assessed their health and recommitted to their shared values. These renewal ceremonies involved honest reflection on failures and successes, forgiveness for past mistakes, and collective visioning for the future. They prevented communities from becoming complacent or allowing small problems to grow into major divisions. The influence of Homonoia's teaching spread throughout the ancient Mediterranean world. Roman leaders adopted many of her principles, creating institutions that promoted civic harmony. Early Christian communities incorporated her insights into their practices of fellowship and mutual support. Today, Homonoia's wisdom remains remarkably relevant. In our digitally connected yet socially fragmented world, her teachings offer a roadmap for rebuilding community bonds. Social movements, organizations, and neighborhoods that apply her principles discover renewed vitality and purpose. The goddess reminds us that unity isn't uniformity. True community celebrates diversity while maintaining shared commitment to the common good. It requires intentional practices, ongoing effort, and the wisdom to balance individual needs with collective well-being. Homonoia's legacy lives on whenever people choose cooperation over competition, whenever communities create inclusive spaces for dialogue, and whenever individuals recognize their interconnectedness with others. Her story teaches us that the power to build strong communities lies not in grand gestures, but in the daily practices of listening, working together, and caring for one another. In our modern quest for connection and belonging, the ancient goddess of unity continues to whisper her timeless wisdom. True community is both humanity's greatest achievement and its most essential need.